What is going to Team Gradelock here? I'm Yos, and we're going to say to all my wonderful, beautiful faces in the world, just miss you, love you, love you. Today we got King of the Ring segment, and this time I am passing it down to Little John. He's forever not going to be the King of the Ring segment guy. John's going to do it. He's going to take it away, and yeah.
Starting with the worst cream Imperial done.
So yes, this is a top 5 segment. That's what the King of the Ring segment is going to be, and it's going to be top 5 grade 3s. To be honest with you, most of these are VRs because, like, let's be honest, that's what most of the good good grade 3s are.
Remember to say that this is opinion, not actual facts.
I mean, goes without saying that this is opinion and not actual fact. People can prove me wrong. People can say that I'm wrong because
Wait, where's Metatron?
It's all matchup dependent.
Where's Metatron?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. We're in post AL4 meta, so don't come at me with later on in the years when.
What about my Metatron?
What about CBD? I don't know. He doesn't exist yet. So anyway, taking number 5 spot is Siegfried. He practically makes Spike Brothers good. Like he's like the best thing that Spike Brothers could have ever gotten. Like he has the ability to make anything big. He can suck something in, deck then a card out of your deck. Give both him and the Vanguard, him and the rearguard call 10 non-once per turn skill, by the way. Like. That just makes columns insanely massive, especially considering most of your units already get 10 or 5Ks when they're placed to begin with, and you can constantly deck thin cards out, make cards big when they're not even supposed to be, like Spike Bouncer. And the best part about it is that he has the on-hit skill. That on-hit skill is nuts. The fact that you could pressure your opponent by attacking a Vanguard or a rearguard, and they lose a rearguard and you restand the rearguard, he always gets perfect guarded. Legitimately always gets perfect guarded. He always takes resources away from your opponent. Like literally the best thing that Spikes could have ever gotten as their 3. And the only reason he's here at 5 is because he doesn't have a way to gain you advantage. To be perfectly honest, every grade 3 over here gives you advantage besides him. He's practically break even, but over the course of the game, you can feel how much advantage he's giving you. It's just that point in time where you only have him, you don't really feel it at first. Every one of these afterwards, you feel the advantage coming in after that. But yeah, that's why he's number 5. He just makes Spike Brothers good. All these cards make their deck good. Speaking of Vasskirk, he makes Vasskirk is number 4, and he makes Grand Blue good. He is probably the best thing the deck could have ever gotten. He gives you a free rearguard every turn. He supplies you with power. He keeps the drop zone at the set point it's supposed to, along with superior calling. Legitimately +1s every turn, like a Vanguard that has a crit that's pressuring every turn. And the funny thing about both of these cards is that you could sit on each one throughout the course of the game. Even if you ride one, you could sometimes practically just win the game by keeping this as your first ride and win the whole game that way. But either way, yeah, the main reason that he's here is because big power. Free rearguards every turn, get power for that grade. He's usually spamming a Skull Dragon, let's be perfectly honest. Then him and a Skull Dragon just make insanely
If you could get a Skull Dragon in the grave.
We're not always lucky, but yes.
We're not always that good.
But even after that point, you just call Ruin Shades. Then if you're not calling Skull Dragons, then your board actually stays and he becomes threatening. That's the other good thing about him. And he takes the cards out of your soul, so if the good cards are there from your soul, you take them out and write it. Call it.
If I can say something, my opinion with these 2 grade 3s is that, and we're in this format where everything's like a triangle, right? It's like a rock, paper, scissors effect between Protect, Excel, and Force. They each make their respective counter matchups a lot easier. So like Excel's supposed to counter Protect, but they can't deal with his crit every freaking turn. This is so good against Protect because they can't hoard their PGs. They have to PG this. Because this going to a rear guard kills another rear guard and restands another rear guard. And then he just makes your whole board big. It's like, you know.
And that's practically what makes these cards good. Because you ride them once, they help you against your bad matchups, and, you know, they're just that good. Then number 3, straight out of AL4, is Phantom Blaster Dragon. He's here, actually, for multiple reasons. He's here because with what's her name? With the main, you get literally free access to kill 3 cards on your opponent's board by calling 1 card to the board for a counterblast. He gains 15 in the crit just for you killing 3 cards on your opponent's side. Most of the deck superior calls and draws anyway, so that cost isn't really there. And if you're actually playing the game of riding multiple 3s every turn, even when your opponent heals, that he can push your opponent from 4 to 5 or 3 to 4, and or even when they push you from 2 to 3, because mind you, this thing gains a crit. It's literally insane how much this card can do for you, and the fact that it ultimately kills Excel. That's the biggest thing about this card. Phantom Blaster Dragon literally kills Excel clans because of how like they can't handle Retire 3, and card's just nuts. Like there's not much more to say about it because it is practically a little plain about this card. It's just the two things that it does, but the two things that it does are very strong against most decks in the game, because even Protect clans don't like their board getting retired unless you're this. And then number 2 is Zembaku. Zembaku with the Arresters is like one of the best things that Murakumo could ever got. Murakumo just became infinitely better because it prevents your opponent from riding, from restanding. It's just honestly very nuts what they've gotten, and they do it for plussing 1 to their board. So an Excel clan that pluses their cards to the board is just practically insane. It's the only effect that it has, so it's very weird that number 2 card would be a card with just 1 skill, but like, and yeah, well, the +5 too. But you know, like, it's something that we aren't used to, being able to be stunned on our 1 card, and a lot of decks don't like to be stunned on the 1 grade 3, so it hurts a lot of decks for going +1. So yeah, and then yeah, that was the those were the number 4s, and then before we get into number 1, I just want to talk about a quick honorable mention, which is Ulti Dayusha. So Ulti Dayusha is here as the honorable mention, aside from these, because the problem with Ulti Dayusha is that, to be perfectly honest, he's very, very strong, but he's not consistent. If you ride him first, it's really bad. If you can't reach a power threshold for, to be honest, multiple reasons, like you're going minus sometimes to reach a power threshold, so like it's very hard for this card to be even considered consistent. But looking at it on paper, a restand and giving your whole board power is really insane. You quad drive for a counter blast, so just saying, like, this is Raging Form Dragon in a sense, so that's why he needed to be at least mentioned in the list. And then number 1, let's be honest, it's Imperial Daughter.
Helmet locked in.
There it is.
Aren't they all wearing helmets? Okay, Vaskurg is the exception. Like, this is a dragon.
Another honorable mention should be Waterfall.
But you know, Imperial's here because she's the best card of OTT. It's a Vaskurg, but you have free range in getting into your Imperials because you draw cards, and this card practically pressures every turn with +15 and a crit, and it stacks your deck as well with +1 to hand, +2 technically because you ride, but the card, and it also the +6 to the board helps you reach force numbers, so it takes away that part of the bad matchup too. And like we said before about Vaskur, gaining a free crit against Excel can sometimes just kill them. So that in general is what makes Imperial Daughter good. But yeah, that's the King of the Ring segment. That's the top 5 3s and the honorable mention of Ulti Dayusha. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any more suggestions on more King of the Ring segments or top 5 3s, top 5 segments whatsoever, please leave them in the comment section down below. I will get to them, I will read them, and I will try to do them. In general, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button for more videos, and peace out. Have a good day.
Take care.
Deuces.